Mark and Paulette here, the two travelers in Mexico, and today we are going to talk about getting a will in Mexico and all the steps that you have to go through to do that, which to me seemed like it was pretty easy.
It was easier than getting a trust in the U.S. for sure.
Yeah.
And the trust in the U.S., we had a trust.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we still have one, but we don't own much anymore in the United States or have much money there.
Yeah, we either sold everything or gave everything away pretty much in the U.S., so there isn't a whole lot left there. So we went to our notaria, the same place that we went to
do our deed.
To do our deed on our house, because that's what notarias do. And during this time of the year, at least at our notaria, it was half off.
Half off, yeah. Ours was from October, November, and December. Yeah. Octobre, Novembre. Yeah. Anyhow, so yeah, we decided to go ahead and do it now. We've been procrastinating. We were going to start in October. It's now the first week of December. So we needed to get it done because they're going to close for Christmas and New Year's anyhow. Right. So we needed to get to it.
First things first, what was our cost?
The cost was, what was it?
1,900 pesos each.
Yeah, 1,900 pesos, which today, with the peso versus the U.S. dollar, it was $96 each.
Right.
And you have to do separate wills.
Yeah.
So, I'll go ahead and I'll go through it. I got my notes since we just did it today. Fresh in my mind, but not that fresh. I still need my notes. Okay, so the person doing the will is called a testador. I think that's how you say it. Testador, something like that. Anyhow, because that's how to refer to you all the time in here, and of course everything's in Spanish, so you need to use your translator. And if you're not sure, ask some of your Mexican friends what it means, which is what we did.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the questions, there's really not that many on here. I think there's only less than 20 questions that you fill out on a piece of paper. I don't have a blank one, otherwise I would have showed you that. But I made a boo-boo on one, and so did Mark, so we only had 4 to begin with. We didn't make more copies than that. So the first question that it asks you is your name, your full name, okay, including your middle name. So put that out there. Or put that on there. And then the next one they're asking is your address. So you put your full address with your zip code. And then your telephone number and email. And your marital status, the name of your spouse, and then your day that you got married, and then your birthday.
It was an actual miracle happened because Paulette actually remembered her wedding date this time. Usually kind of a crapshoot with her.
It is, because we weren't planning on getting married then, right? And it was just one of those things.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. That's why I don't remember it, because we got married in October, and October is not one of my favorite months, so I would have never picked October. Anyhow, moving along. So your birthday they ask you, and then they ask you the name of your children. And of course ours are adults, they're older. So you list their full name on there too. And then the next question they ask you is...
They ask you the name of your parents.
They ask you the full name of your parents, and they ask you whether they are alive or deceased. So, and then the next thing that they ask you is the full name of your children. And then they ask you who you want to be your executor. And we picked each other, of course, not knowing who's going to kick the bucket first, right?
The way she's going is probably going to be me first.
So you name your executor, and then it also asked you, like, if your children were underage, like who you wanted to take care of your children, but that wasn't the case in our situation. Then the next question, or the next one, is how you want things split up. And what you can do on that line, we were told by the notario today, is that you can go ahead and put on the first line second executor as a backup and then name that person. So that's what we did. And then how you want it split up, like 50-50 to your children, you know, their names written down, something like that. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you the things that you needed, right?
But I want to touch on the 50-50 to your children, because if one person dies, and if you don't have a will or something, the other person keeps 50% of the property, and the other 50% goes to the kids.
Right.
We chose that if one of us passes away, the other one gets 100% of the property, and then after the second person passes away, then the property is divided amongst all 4 of our kids.
Right, yeah, because he's got 2, I've got 2, so it'd be 25, 25, 25, you know, for all the kids, and 25. So these are the things that they asked you for. They wanted birth certificates, copies of your birth certificates, which we had, and which we had apostilled. Is that how you say that?
Apostilled.
When we got married in Hawaii. So we had all that. We had 2 copies. We had 2 originals of those that I'd paid for. And so I made photocopies of those. And then copies of your passport. And this was the same notario that we did, like Mark said, the house deed. So, you know, it wasn't like they had to verify too much. We've been in there several times. So, copies of the passport, copies of our marriage certificate, and our, I always say it wrong, CURP number, C-U-R-P.
C-U-R-P, but they pronounce it Corp here.
Right. So they wanted a copy of that, which you do get when you become a temporary resident or permanent residency. And then that number also is going on the visas now. Ours was put on the visa.
Yeah.
And they used to be green, but now I understand that they're like an off-white color now. So they're not, you know, your green card. I guess they would be your off-white card now. And what else did they want? They wanted information like on the property, but because I brought in my deed folder with me, all they did was write down the number from it. So they weren't too concerned about that at all.
Yeah.
That was about it. It was pretty painless. The most pain was deciphering what it meant, because things always get lost in translation, don't they? Even when you translate it, you're like, what? That doesn't make any sense. I don't even understand what that means. So that's when our Mexican friends came into play to find out, what does this mean?
Tell us what it really means and not what we think we just translated it into.
Right, right. It only costs, you know, $96 US. Usually every year they will give you a half off discount. It could be for 1 month, 2 months. San Luis Potosí does it for 3 months.
Yeah.
So that's a really nice.
Actually 4 months. September, October,
oh, was it September?
November, December.
Oh, it was September. Okay. Okay, my mistake. So that's how it all works, and it seems pretty easy. Oh, the other thing is like, if you wanted to give one of your children a little bit more money, like if they're going to be the backup executor, right? Because if they're not living in Mexico, they've got to fly here, they got to stay here, they got to take care of all that stuff. I mean, if anybody's been an executor, you know, it's a lot on your plate that you have to do. And again, you know, with going abroad, because that's where you have to take care of it. That's a whole nother aspect of it. So I asked her if there was a way that we could do it where one child gets more, or something like that, taking on that responsibility, and we could not. There's not a way that we could do it.
She basically just hinted that if we have a bank account, we give that child, you know, some portion of money.
Write them down as the, like the executor on the account?
The beneficiary.
Beneficiary, yeah, there you go. the beneficiary on that account, and then, you know, leave the money in there for them, and then they can go ahead and they would need, like, she wasn't sure because she doesn't work at a bank, but she thinks like they would need their birth certificate, their passport. You know, maybe a driver's license or some kind of other ID to show who they are.
Yeah.
In order to get the money out of the bank. So those are some lessons learned today, and I'm so glad that we took care of it. I wanted to do it Friday, and we didn't do it, and then I wanted to do it yesterday, and we didn't do it. So I told Mark, we've got to do it today. And the whole thing will take, again, it's Mexico, things don't always happen fast. She said a month or two. I'm thinking more like 2 or 3 myself.
Or 4 or 5.
Nah, who knows? But the thing is, we got in there when it was still offered at 50% off, so that was a good thing. Oh, they're gonna call us back when they have it like written out, so that we could look at it, verify, you know, everything's correct there. They don't ask you your children's birth dates. They don't ask you anything important that you think that they might ask you, right?
Yeah,
because I guess they were like, you know, it's Mexico, right?
Yeah.
They were like, well, you know, they have to show that anyhow, so why do we need it? You're listing their name. They're going to prove who they are.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, all right, that works for us.
I mean, we could have listed our kid's name as Elmer Fudd, and
You could have listed your kid's name as Elmer Fudd. Yeah. Elmer Fudd 1 and Elmer Fudd 2.
3, 4. Actually, I only got 2 kids.
You only have 2.
So,
so anyhow, so we'll go back in there, review what they what they put together, and if there's any changes that need to be made, we'll make it then. Excuse me. If any spelling or dates or something like that. And Mark writes like a doctor. You know how they say it's like.
oh yeah.
And I'm like, right? So they could read it, and it was still, I thought, difficult. But she seemed to do okay with your writing, which
My
I was always
handwriting.
amazed.
My handwriting sucks, but I've moved past that now.
Well, a lot of people probably think you're a doctor.
Well,
nothing wrong with
that's
that,
true.
right?
That would be
Because
probably
they always say that doctors have like chicken scratch writing.
that'd be a step up for me.
Yeah. So then we go ahead and we go in there, verify it, make any changes at that point. They send it on, and then they'll notify us.
Yeah. And finger
Quotes.
quotes, notify
They'll
us.
notify us, right, when it's ready for us to pick up. So the main thing is we took care of it. It's out of the way. One less thing that we have to deal with now. I mean, we've only been in Mexico for 3 years, but we've owned the house for about a year, and we thought it would be a good thing to do, you know, right? You never know when you're going to kick the bucket, you know.
You never know. The way you stress me out could be pretty soon. Who knows?
Well, you do things for me to stress you out, to remind you of these things.
True.
Mark,
Fake news.
Mark.
Fake news.
Yeah.
Fake news over there.
Yeah, that's in a whole another episode right there. That's a whole another video that we won't even go into.
I'll tell you what it's like when we die. We're going to be cremated. I wanted a burial at sea, so Paulette is talking about flushing my ashes down the toilet because she says I'll get there faster, which I don't think is quite the case.
Well, I think it
However,
is, actually.
If that is the case, on my way out, I certainly hope I clog the toilet.
So, yeah, we are definitely not. I mean, it's a whole nother thing that we're talking about. But, yeah, we're both going to choose to be cremated in Mexico. Hold on to those memories, you know. Hold it dear to your heart. And there's no sense in, I don't think, for us anyhow, you know, shipping the body back to the U.S., doing a service there, and all that other stuff.
Nope.
You know, we're just, and that's the good thing. We both agree on that, too.
Yeah.
So it makes it pretty easy. So that's it from the Two Travelers in Mexico. And as always,
What she did.
bye, guys.
Bye.